All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. Again, I saw the network getting a little up and down with the bandwidth, so we saved that one. So you can go to the timeline at this current time and you can watch the first half of this. We're taking questions at this point, at this time, so we're waiting for Coach Rolle to log back in, and we're continuously taking questions that you may have for him. This is a good time to get a lot of nuggets for recruitment, get nuggets for the program, learn coaching tips, diocese, I would say. I really think we should start recording everything Coach Rolle does. Like, this the makings of, like, not the last dance. Like, we ain't get to call it the last dance. We could call us, like, the last flight, go Mingos. And then just the story of how we became champions. You're back. I stopped talking. You're back. So, yeah, you
Yeah.
continue. You
So,
continue.
so let's go on the record then. Let's talk about that revolving seven.
Okay.
That might inspire some people to ask some crazy things. So one of the challenges that Shaky had was, well, that you put on Mr. Dames, was Ruben over Smith. Ruben is a special athlete. Ruben, as good as he was not at his peak.
Wow.
And Ruben just impressed me so much as an all-around athlete. And he, from the time he stepped on the court, the time he stepped off the court, he was at 100% all out. It that kind of endurance. I think that's what endured Shaky to him. And he and Shaky, when he played 1 year together, 1 year, Ruben is a dynamic scorer. He
Yes.
has the ability to do a whole lot. Well, had it. I'm not sure of his fitness level now. I'm sure he's right back. He's a wild Bill, man. He will always be fit.
I'm trying to remember if he played with the first blue and white series. I think he was supposed to, but he didn't get to. But everybody gave kudos, man. Shout out to my cousin Sans. Anthony was like, "Boy, Ruben is a beast."
Yeah, Ruben is a beast. Sans is a very good player in the program. My floor general.
I mean, you might need some water, coach. Coach, you're a little delusional. Again, that's my cousin. He is all right, He is all right.
No. I'm telling you. Asking you. I'm telling you. Floor general. We can see a lot of him this year too, because he and I have been talking, and he's going to come out and give some assistance to the program as well. And that's what
Excellent.
I really encourage. I want alumnus to come back, put back into the program with their time to help us develop the next generation of Mingos. I was just distraught when I found out that Justin Smith, Justin Monroe, and Ramon Dames would not be in New Providence, so they wouldn't be able to assist. But I like the fact that each of those guys have their own programs to run in the various schools they work, and how they get to see exactly what they used to put me through.
Shake, well, Shakes talked about his frustration because Shakes was like he wanted to do so much off the bat for programs. There's a few videos of him coaching, especially the younger guys, and then like COVID-19, Dorian, and Shakes opened my mind. Shakes is like, boy, it ain't easy. Like I in Grand Bahama, we get these 2 hits, and I ready to teach, but it's like it hard. We have a question. I just want to address it. So, what improvements do you need for returning players to remain competitive and not revert to a place of irrelevance in the basketball arena?
What improvements? Well, from a human resources standpoint, definitely we could do with some big players, some size. Definitely would like to see some size. We would like to have a home of our own. We do very well now with AF Adley Gymnasium in the mornings, but we don't have access to it in the evening. And I'd like to be able to get into a situation where possibly we can look at doing some 2-a-days, maybe even 3-a-days, especially during the off season, like some 3-a-days would be excellent. So those, that type of intervention would be great. I'm certain that we don't have access to Kendall geologic gymnasiums before as we did. And to be honest with you, when we had that type of access to Kendall, when I could get the guys in the morning, and then on some of the off days we do the evening stuff, just shoot around, etc. We saw a difference in our performance and our output. So that type of thing, from a human resources standpoint, as I say, that that's what we need. And of course, from a facility standpoint.
Could I interject right there? I mean, we have two things, and I want to know, how do you think they're going to impact the program? We have the convention center that's going to be built by the old Clarence A being building, right? So that's going to be torn down and made into a convention center to host basketball and sporting events. And then we also have the building of a new dormitorium, which then, of course, you would know from being a college athlete, means you're on the floor, you're right around the corner from the court. You have a gymnasium inside it. The athletics training department is going to expand, more gymming facilities. So with two dynamic forces like that coming, what is that going to do for you in your coaching arena? And how excited are you to have those projects completed?
I think those additions would be great to university as a whole. Of course, to just developing the university and bringing us to a place where we allow students in general, not just the athletes, to feel a part of a real university town, a university program. Of course, accessibility to the convention center and the dormitories with the cafeteria. Those things are ideal for us from a basketball standpoint or athletic standpoint, to allow our players to be able to train at the A1 level. Those will definitely impact the program to a place where we would further see even better results. I don't know how much accessibility we'll have to practice in the convention center. That's why the facility for me is really, would be ideal. Right now we work with what we have. We still put in the time, and as we grow, as the university grow, we grow. I'm very patient. I don't think I'm going anywhere soon. I love the interaction with the players. I think it helps to keep my mind sharp. It helps to keep me engaged with the young people in the country, and that's ideal for me.
We're still waiting on questions, but I know we're in the works of, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to pre-announce it, right? We're in the works of the B-Roll Talk Show. How excited are you to start a new brand and a new path?
Yeah, Marcus Roll, B-Roll, balling with B-Roll. Yeah. I really very excited about it. The vision for it for me is to be able to help to develop the sport more than anything. It has nothing to do with me individually, but for just development of the sport. So for me, the vision is to be able to bring in experts in the field. For example, I'd like to bring in a Mario Bolag, who is not only the president but the national team coach, or the president of the Bahamas Basketball Federation and the national team. So to pick his mind, to help him, to give him a platform so he could talk about not only the vision for the federation, but to use it as a training tool for coaches and for players. So that's really that's my vision for the development. That I think that'd be great.
We have a reminder of a question. Well, I'll go back up and read it again. I think we did get the question. The one is, what improvements do you need for returning players to remain competitive and not revert to a place of irrelevance in the basketball arena? I mean, I think we tackled it, but maybe we missed a part of it.
So remain relevant in the arena. That's our job. I mean, our job is to stay at a fitness level, stay very competitive with our training, so that we are always at a particular level and not to revert to a place where we came from. That is always the challenge. That's why I say I'm tired of coming in second. Guys, now it's time for us to take our true place. And I think that, if with the proper size, if we can get the right type of players in the right size, if we're able to recruit the better players in the country, then we'll be at that place. Unfortunately, uh, we don't get the best players in the country. A lot of our Bahamian basketball players, high school basketball players, are looking to go abroad. But perhaps with this COVID-19, we may reap some of the benefits of those players staying local, and we may see some things change. That is a challenge, and then of course there's a challenge with the public. Well, our entire educational system really don't force our athletes to be students. So I'm not aware that there is a minimum grade level for a minimum GPA level for students in the school system, in order to be involved in sports. And so we find that a lot of very, very talented players are not at a place where they can gain acceptance into the university. And that in itself is a shame. I do not know that it's the players' fault. To be very honest with you, very candid, I believe that it is inefficiencies in our educational system. We have to put those stringent measures in place that will force our athletes to become students. That is the reason why they are called student athletes. Student is first. And so
I do agree.
we give those players or those athletes, and we do them a disservice by not enforcing a minimum GPA and say, look, in order to play in high school sports, you need to be at this particular level. And of course, you'll have to fall off the first year and maybe even the second year. But athletes want to play. Players want to play. So they will do whatever is necessary to play. I remember the time when my mother had to pull that card on me. It worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for Dionysus? Why wouldn't it work for another player?
Right.
So
we got a question on standby. Are UB athletes able to accept local endorsement deals, and are they subject to the same NCAA restrictions as American collegiate athletes? I want to say that this is something I think our sports information officer and director Rolle would tackle. But if you feel safe with answering it, Coach Rolle, you can go ahead.
No, I think you did a very good job answering that. I for one, would not want one of my players to accept an endorsement or local endorsement. We play for the University of Bahamas Mingo. That's our endorsement there. That's who we play for. And of course, we're not a part of the NCAA. So I don't see us having to be guided by the NCAA rules. But we are trying to format and formalize ourselves with NCAA. So it would be sensible for us to practice those particular rules.
Right. And I think that's sufficient. And again, you want to direct that to our sports information. Excuse me. Sports information officer, Mr. Chris Saunders. He can better direct your question and answer it. But of course, we have the athletic director also saying no endorsements are permitted at this time. I'm here thinking, right, and I want to be fair to the audience. I'm curious, how was the team? Because I'm thinking Last Dance again, right? Episode 1, when Jordan was like, the Chicago Bulls is known as, but there was like a cocaine team or something like that.
What?
How? I don't know. It's like, if you didn't watch it, I just ruined it for you. You're welcome. But how was UB, well, as COB Caribs, how was the team day one when you came there, and kind of compared to where it's at now? And I'm saying this because I'm thinking back then there wasn't a meal plan. I'm thinking there wasn't a lot of the privileges like student financial aid and stuff like that. And there wasn't as many coaches. So how was the team back then? So our audience can understand how far we've come.
Well, we've developed over the years, and I think, you know, I try to stay away from those type of questions because I don't want to slight the previous coaches or the
Oh,
previous.
okay, that's fine.
Um, I think they did their very best with what they had available to them. I happened to come in at a very good time where the focus kind of almost shifted towards in a different way, and it allowed for some things to happen. Of course, I didn't when I came to the university. I didn't bring any players with me. I had to work with the players that were there, so we had to train them up, get them to a level of confidence, get them to run a little less freestyle, a little more system, a little more systematic, a little more understanding the game from with a different perception. Uh, so over the years, we've developed that type of mindset with our players. Like, 'cause my players will tell you, I'll hit the roof. We come down the floor, and you hit the first open jump shot you get. That's crazy to me. I mean, that's not basketball. Everybody has the open jump shot the first time they come down. So just the whole idea, my concept of basketball is a little different than the previous administration, and the different nuances that he faced, that I faced. One of the things I always joke around. I tell people, I say, married to the director, married to the director, buddy. I wore nice shirts too.
And in your defense, and of course, Kimberly Rolle is here. But if anybody ever walked into Coach Rolle and the athletic director talking, they are not married when it comes to UB. One time I was there, she's like, Coach Rolle, I need to schedule a meeting with you. We need to discuss this and that. I was like, that's your husband. and the same thing, at the game when he's speaking to the program, before they record you for ZNS, it's a level of professionalism, and I don't know how you guys do it, but it's like you take off that cap and like, hey, I'm on the next role, and there's a different
No,
level of respect.
I don't take off the cap, buddy. She's my boss here in the house and my boss there at the office.
Fatherhood talks tonight, 6 o'clock. But that's good, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still here for your questions. You're seeing the clown side, I think, of Coach Rolle, who is a very stern leader. He's a great presence, and he's one that demands a lot of his team. I still remember that first student athlete ball. Your whole team was sharp, and everybody had on their sparkly shoes and suits. So you demand a lot.
No, that's the fun side of it. I mean, it's a fun side. I tell the guys, enjoy it. Ask the players that are gone. Ask them if they miss it. They miss it too. I mean, during COVID-19, I was sending out clips of games, the old clips, to the old players, and we talking about what play was that? How did he get that open on that jump shot? They missed it. They miss it tremendously, and so you have to enjoy it. Part of that is creating the right and proper image. My guys will tell you. I tell them, don't wear my stuff all over the place. I mean, we distribute the uniforms and the gear to you at the beginning of the year, right? I don't expect to see you in the grocery store dragging slippers with my uniform.
No, man. No. I'll take a picture of that. I'll report that.
You see, so the standard has to increase. We expect a lot. I expect a lot out of these young men because they're not just. I'm not gonna lie. You can come as you are, but when you leave, you can't remain that same person. There has to be some transformation. So for me, this is a transformative experience. We're not talking about transforming us as basketball players. We're talking about transforming us as individuals. Our mindset, understanding our purpose, and wanting to excel to be the very best that we can be. So yeah, take it very serious. My sons have to live in this Bahamas that these guys will lead.
Somebody is asking about what about in the club. If you're pertaining to nightclubs and dance clubs and where they can drink. I could answer ahead of time. This man is the man who, and I want to call you out for it, Mr. Rowe. We were in a very prominent game internationally. These are teams we could have beaten, made the university look very good, and he only got a whiff, just a whiff of what his player might have done. Suspension.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of leadership. I watched it online. They were hard games to watch, man. I still remember, I don't want to say the player name. I still remember 5 easy layups missed.
Yeah.
And we only, like, what that was, FMUA. We was only, like, little bit behind. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, if we had these players, right? But you made a decision. And that's when I realized the man ain't compromising. You break the program, you break the rules. Wow.
No, there's a certain responsibility that comes with, there's a certain responsibility that comes with being associated with myself and the Mingo as far as I am concerned. And that responsibility is an awesome one. And so I don't want people to say, Bacchus can't expect much. No. No. We have a no alcohol beverage policy, and our drug policy is very clear. We portray ourselves on social media. That's very clear. Because we don't represent ourselves any longer. We represent the university. I represent my wife and my family. And I believe they are deserving of the proper representation. So you as a player or somebody involved with the program itself, not just basketball, the entire program, you represent me, my family, the university, you represent your family.
And I wanna tell people, like, between me and Chris, I just hate when a student believes they smarter than the system. And it don't always be them posting, it's be them in the situation with a friend posts and then they get catch. And I just be like, you shouldn't have been there, bro. And you see so much. And I want to shout out to, like, Ken, right? I love Ken. I went on a trip before and we were eating dinner, just a cup of wine. And I saw Ken eating his fruits and all that. And later on, I was like, Ken, like, if I offer you a beer, what you do? You say, boy, I'll kick you over my room. Ken said, but I have these goals. This before he broke all the records in national training. Ken said, I have these goals. I don't have no time to play. I say, I don't even care if it's a policy. I know where I need to get as an athlete, and alcohol ain't to get me there, so don't distract me with that foolishness. And I look at him from since then, and I was like, this man could be something great one day.
Ken Mullins is the ultimate Mingo. And I'm talking about the record. I know and see him without the record. I've seen him in the off-season. I see him work every day. He's the ultimate Mingo. Far better than any basketball player I've ever had.
Yeah. That's it. I don't even think you need to continue that sentence, ladies and gentlemen. But we're here for a few more minutes. We only do 30 minutes. Of course, we started the next one. So we have a little bit of extended time. So we'll give about 2 minutes as always for any other questions. If not, then we'll move on. So we have a next question here, which is, what do you do different than before in aiming to achieve your goal? I think we need to expand a little bit on that question. Or do you understand it?
Well, I could just shoot on it. So there's a very popular saying, if you keep doing what you've always done, you can only be as good as you always was, So of course, every year we look at where we can change, what we need to change, program, and we make adjustments. So before we have this notion of, we'll run plays. And so I started coaching. I would teach older Mingos, Caribs, older Mingos, plays, so that everybody understands where they need to be, what they need to do in every situation. Very difficult to do. So we saw some successes with that, but we also saw some failures. So we made an adjustment now, and we now have a basketball concept. So we don't have specific spots, specific plays. We now have concepts, which allows a little more freedom for players to operate in, and you play. It's a read and react type of offense that I find is effective for the type of players that we have. If I had robotic type players, I would have to do more set plays. So you really have to depend on. It really depends on what type of players you have for how effective a particular system would be for you. I think I made the mistake early with setting up a system and not understanding or knowing the players that I had. Once I understood the players that we had, what their strengths was, what their weaknesses were, now understanding that, we can develop a concept that and help to embed that concept in the players to bring out their best.
I'm curious. I'm thinking the last recorded game we had. I'm sorry, it's just in my head. I feel like there was this thing called like how they had Hacker Shock, like it was Hacker Kimsey, where every team would just like legit put 3 people on Kimsey, and then Kimsey would still drive through them somehow, right? But then in that last game, I think the Rockets definitely pressed on Robert and Kimsey hard. It was almost like because anytime Kimsey would drive, they were like he would always pass it to Robert, who was open and hits the three, right? And I'll watch it again. I don't want to speak too quick. What do you do as a coach when you can see something coming, like they're going to make players to deal with Kimsey? What do you do as a coach in those situations?
So you have to have certain things in your repertoire that allow you to prepare for such. You would have to expect that would you have a very talented player. Of course, you would shut down. If I were coaching against Kimsey, I would shut Kimsey down or limit his performances and force the other players to win the game. And I think they did in that last recorded game that we have against the Rock. They did. And of course, what happened was once we went down 10-11, attitudes dropped.
Yeah.
Third quarter, our attitude dropped, and it was kind of difficult to pull out of that hole. We've seen in the past where we've been down and come back, but it didn't happen that night. We've got to get better with that. Like this year, we're not going to have Kimsey as a player, and so we've got to devise offsets and counterattacks on how we will operate in this type of situation.
I think Kimsey left us a gift though, because the team went from only Kimsey dunking to I watch all the videos after practice. Like everybody's just be waiting for that chance to dunk. Robert dunking, Chris put up like 3. Tim do like 2 solid ones. Tomahawk,
Yeah. We really like Tim. I like Tim too. Nice guy.
No man, you want to accuse me of putting Tim above UJ. You can say I like UJ. You don't do that to Tim. You don't do that. Okay. But no, but I think that's a gift, and thank you, Kimsey. Kimsey really pushed the men's team. Everybody dunking now, man.
Yeah, he has pushed the program, not only the program, but he has pushed the confidence of the other players to a place where I couldn't do it on my own. That's why it's important to have special players in your program, because they don't only develop themselves, they help to develop and give others the confidence that they need in order to be successful. He will be missed, but we will do our very best to create another. Probably won't be 23, and you won't see 23 for a while.
Wow, you gotta retire it. Shout outs to Chris. Chris just logged in. Are there any future plans to give players hope to still dream of playing basketball and opening their eyes to them, that there are opportunities here at UB? What can we do to help? So,
can you repeat the question? Repeat it for me, please.
Are there any future plans to give players hope to still dream of playing basketball and opening the eyes to them that there is opportunity here at UB, graduates, non-graduates? And then they ask, what can you do to help? So I guess, are there any future plans to give players hope to still dream of playing basketball? I think that's the first question.
Well, okay, so let's look at that. Every day we open, every day we practice, we give players hope to play basketball. you know, if you're talking about playing at a professional level, yeah, that's real. That can happen. That comes with commitment, training, and dedication. Uh, Again, professional basketball is a very big thing nowadays. You don't have to play American professional. Many countries have professional leagues, and so it's just a matter of being seen uh, and getting the right connection, and you can land it. We have our fingers crossed on one or two players from Mingos that we believe may be able to do some things abroad. So it's just a matter of working with those players and making the right connection for them. So
How,
hope is hope.
and then the second part is opening the eyes to see the opportunities. I think you addressed that in previous comments, so I won't tackle that one. I'm thinking, what do you do? I know it's called brain drain, right? But what do you do about talent drain when someone comes on the program and they're using, of course, we have stats. We have a good stat system. They're using it to put on their stats, but it's like, and you could smell it sometime, coach. It's like after that second semester, you could see, well, this person,
They're
they
looking.
only come here, now they trying to leave. What do you do about that, and how do you keep your spirit in the game after knowing somebody would come on the team, dedicate themselves, and then it's like third semester, oh, I going to Canada. How do you deal with that? I'm curious.
Because I love the program more than I love the players, to be very honest with you. And so this is a program that I helped to develop. I love this program more than I love the players. And so that's why it's easy for me to discipline a player if he lets the program down. It's very easy for me to distance myself from a player if they are not meeting or living up to the standards that the program has set. So that's how I deal with it. I cannot prevent a player from leaving. I will pour myself into that player and pour the highest level of basketball that I can into that player. I cannot prevent them from leaving. I would hope that they will not, but I can't prevent it.
It's real.
But so what's real is if they're a very good player, here's the trade-off. Here's the trade-off. And I always say this. They played well when they were with us. They helped to advance the program, if only for that year. And I appreciate it. You
You have
know?
a lot of them then. You have a lot of them. You got you got Jason put in his time, Babin's put in his time. And I
Yeah.
always,
But
I see them and I tell them, hey, I always consider you on Mingos, bro.
they helped to advance the program in my mind. They were very good players while they were there. I'll tell you this. Jason Stubbs, we talked about this the other day, me and a few of the former players. In my mind, understood his role best. He knew that when I put him in that game, I need long shots. So he didn't waste his time on the floor doing stuff that wasn't his job. He did his job. And I appreciate that. He understood that completely. He understood that completely. He did his time. He played a role, and he made his contribution. I appreciate that. He's moved, and I wish him the very best where he is. Antoine Bevan's the same way. He came in. We were building around him. We thought we had the best piece in place around him to be very successful. It didn't work out with us and him, and he's moved on. But while he was there,
Listen,
we had a
every
great.
time, coach, he was disciplined. Every time I saw him, from day when I saw him, that Marshall University, I saw him, I was like, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? My mind is get petty. Because you know that his hair used to distract me so much.
Yeah. But
So it's like, I had to get used to that, man.
yeah, at the game against Marshall, these guys did it.
Yeah.
Did it. Great team, great game. Showed our competitiveness. Which in my mind, to be honest with you, is a glimpse of the future. This program will continue to grow and continue to get better, and we will have contributions from many persons. But at the end of the day, the university and the program, not individual.
I see a question there from Sans, the COVID-19 affecting the game scheduling for upcoming season. I'll have to respectfully say we can't answer that. I think that's beyond the coach, myself. It's up to the leagues. It's up to the working of assistant director Sean Basin and how hard he's working. So we can't say and we can't answer that question. We also have Santi. She reworded it. She said graduates and non-graduates, how can you get their attention to apply to UB, like advertisements, here locally events? Uh, he answered a part of that earlier, so I would say go back to the first recording. He did answer how he gets them or convince them actually to come to UB. But advertising locally in events, that's under my department. So respectfully, coach, is like it all comes back to money.
No, but not only
Uh,
that. I think our presence, our physical presence, needs to be greater. We're going to work on doing a lot more of that. And of course, wherever we can, do our very best to recruit. Again, I think a part of helping us recruit is we need to just offer just a little more discipline in our educational system to ensure that our players are at a certain level, and that will definitely get the cream of the crop. You know?
and on my account, I always say in my department, you gotta pay to have them pay attention. So I want to respectfully say to you, and that's a great answer, but we are on ZNS, we're on RTV, we're on social media, we're on YouTube, we was even on TikTok and Twitter for a time as well because I was doing an experiment. But being all these places, as well as being on the website, as well as being in the Clarion, everywhere we spread, the number one thing that kind of bugs me is when a student comes up to me and be like, "We have a basketball team," or they be like, "Our basketball team is win."
No, 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 no. Where are they? Where are they?
Honestly, in my department, I have I did the Spirit Ambassadors program, and I love students who would be like, "Oh, we have a basketball team," and I just look at them like, "You here, like because like honestly, coach, how do you miss it?
No,
Where
yeah. I guess
we put
persons are caught up in their world, just like how I'm caught up in the athletic world. Persons are caught up in those things that interest them completely, and they are oblivious to what's happening around them. But University of the Bahamas does have a basketball team, and we do win, and we
oh
can continue.
yeah, I'm here because y'all won. I lost a bet with your wife. That is why I'm here. I literally, ladies and gentlemen, it's a part of my testimony. I was not on this run making the rebranding. I was minding my own business. Kim was like, "Ren, we need a new mascot." And I was like, "Kim, if y'all win any one of those games internationally, I'll come and help you out." Next day, they went on 3 of the games they played inside Florida. I was like, "Goodness gracious, Kim." I set myself up because I thought like, G them back in the day. G was good and they was good, but it's like you never hear about them winning. I go and fool myself, man. I go and jack myself up now here. Go Mingos.
That's Kim. She may set you up. You never know. You know.
And then obviously she did the same thing to Chris. Chris is still there too. And then Sasha, like Kim has a talent.
She's a recruiter.
And shout out to all of them. Chris, the first sports information officer for the University of the Bahamas, a statistician, a historian, and of course Sasha Johnson. And you want to follow UB Athletics Training, our first athletic trainer for the University of the Bahamas. So Kim has a talent.
Just before we go, allow me to say, Renwood, special thanks to everybody involved, the entire athletics department. To be very honest with you, the number one contributor to this department is not the director, in my mind. The number one contributor is Miss, I can't remember her name now.
Don't ruin it. Say it right. Come on.
Jesus.
Miss Codray?
Christy, her name is not Christy.
Kirsty Codray. Kirsty. All right. No, shout outs. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's who's do all the work. I wanted somebody to say it because Kim is around me. That's who's do all the work.
Pours herself into these athletes. She goes above and beyond, in my mind, to ensure that their experience is what it should be. But that's all a part of the entire team coming together. It's not just what I do in sport, what I do in practices. It's her, reminding them to get their schedules in, and then them for that other things are necessary. So that part of it, and of course, Sasha does her part, and the training team is A1. The other coaches supporting the program, supporting other sporting events, that the other athletes as they support their fellow athletes, So the community is building, the family is building, and the whole Mingo's brand, the Mingo's athletic program coming together, and it's fun to watch and see it happen because again, I believe that the sky is the limit for it. It will do wonders and good things here.
Compliments, man. Kirsty deserves all the praise. She does that work. She's even on me. And I saw a quick question about women's basketball. Of course, Coach Rolle mentioned it. I mentioned it a lot of times when people ask. There was a women's basketball team at the College of the Bombers because of league, and of course, we go internationally for competitions and based on universities. We're still working hard at it, creating the atmosphere needed. But yes, we had a UB women's basketball team. It is no longer a program simply because of the competitive nature of it and finding teams to play. That's up for coach and coach role, of course, guidance factor, and the athletic director when it comes back. And number one reason and number one thing is talent. We started a cheerleading league, cheerleading team this year, which cheerleading is an athletic department and an athletic team, right? And all the raggedy and people talking about all that blase, oh, we ready to cheer. We have a coach, we had the money, we had the competitions, but we couldn't find the talent.
Well,
So some things to think about.
Yes, you have to be. Thing about stepping forward, Rand, is you have to be willing to be criticized. And so, the decision to come forward is a very difficult one. And so I applaud anybody that would come forward for a public figure, come forward as a coach, a player. Whenever you step out to make a difference, it's a very difficult decision because you will open yourself to criticism. I know we were criticized when we first came out as when I first started coaching here at the university, and it's just a matter of deaf ass. Just stay focused to what your goal is and to the form, and you'll get there. You would get.
And I'm gonna let that be a closing note. I know you gave some last words to Miss Cartwright, but if you want to say any, like maybe one more thing before we close, that's fine. But again, this is being off season with Coach Barker's role, and of course, you can take the floor.
Thank you very much for having me, Rand. I enjoyed it completely. I want to encourage the program, the director, the assistant director, trainers, coaches, athletes. I want to encourage us in this post-COVID-19 environment to remain safe, to be our brother's keeper, and to always remember that the sky is the limit for this program. We will do well, we will succeed, because we are committed to it. Thank you for having me.
Go Mingos.
Go Mingos.